I was not born surrounded by opportunities. I grew up in public housing, watching my father lose his job again and again. There was no safety net, no backup plan. That environment teaches you something early in life. Stability is fragile, and when you do not control decisions, you pay the price. That was where I learned my first lesson about work, dignity, and responsibility. I saw what it meant to feel powerless, and without realizing it, I decided that I would build something different. Years later, after growth, recognition, and global expansion, I almost lost everything. Not because of luck, not because of timing, but because of decisions I personally made. If you think great empires are built in straight lines, this story will challenge that idea. My path was not about constant wins. It was about misjudgment, correction, and rebuilding when stepping away would have been easier. When I was young, I had no connections. I had no capital, and I had no margin for error. Each decision carried weight. Failure was not theoretical. It meant going backward. I was driven by one objective: to create something that gave people dignity. Not only customers, but employees. I never forgot what happened to my father when he was injured and then discarded by the system. That memory stayed with me. When I first encountered small coffee shops in Seattle, I did not see coffee. I saw structure. I saw consistency. I saw a place between home and work where people could feel welcome without explanation. At that time, most people rejected that idea. Investors said Americans valued speed over experience. They said no one would pay premium prices for something ordinary. I heard rejection repeatedly. Each refusal created a clear choice: stop or continue refining the vision. I chose to continue. Growth followed quickly, faster than internal systems, faster than culture could absorb. Stores opened. Revenue increased. Public perception improved. Internally, alignment weakened. Processes replaced intention. Decisions became automatic. The original experience became diluted. I did not correct this early enough. That was my mistake. I treated expansion as progress. Over time, I lost control of the company I helped build. Watching something you created move in a direction you no longer recognize creates distance and doubt. Success does not remove uncertainty. In many cases, it increases it. Then came 2008. The financial crisis exposed inefficiencies and punished them. Starbucks began losing momentum. Stores closed. Employee engagement declined. Customer trust weakened. That was when I returned. My first action was deliberate. I closed thousands of stores for several hours, not to reduce expenses, but to restore standards and consistency in how coffee was prepared. That decision slowed the company down. Before addressing performance, I needed to restore foundation. I reduced complexity. I simplified offerings. I clarified leadership priorities. I stopped attempting to satisfy every expectation. Those decisions created resistance. They were not immediately popular, but they created alignment. Stability returned gradually, not through promotion, but through structure. That period reinforced an important principle. When systems fail, small corrections are insufficient. Clear decisions and accountability are required. The company began growing again, this time with discipline. Culture was treated as an asset, not an afterthought. People were prioritized before expansion. If I reduce these experiences into practical principles, they remain consistent. Speed must not replace direction. Growth without culture creates instability. Short-term discomfort protects long-term viability. If you are facing a difficult phase, understand this. Failure does not define outcomes. Decisions do. Every meaningful financial turnaround begins quietly, with awareness, with responsibility, with a choice that is often invisible to others. If this way of thinking aligns with you, remain connected. Each story here exists to examine decisions that shape long-term outcomes. That is how sustainable financial change begins.